I want to talk tonight. I want to give a couple of updates real quick, and then I'll get to the talk. First of all, we had a good time last night in Columbus, and I know that a lot of you guys were there. It was a good crowd. We had, I don't know, close to 50 people maybe, and it was a good time. It was a good initial blast off, kickoff kind of a night. So I'm very, very grateful. We had a good showing, and we will see where we go from here. I think it's going to be a positive thing. I also wanted to talk about briefly a couple of changes that are coming in the new year with the church. Specifically, first, I'm very, very excited to say that we've been chosen as one of the flagship parishes to try out the Archdiocesan Catechism. So it's very exciting. 40 parishes in the country were chosen to try it out, basically to teach it. So it'll be my first time teaching it. It'll be your first time hearing it. And then I give my feedback to the Metropolitan's office, and you give me feedback if you say, well, such and such wasn't really clear, or I thought that was really helpful, or whatever. I get your feedback, we put it together, and I make him reports. And so there are 40 priests who are doing that. I'm really excited about that and very grateful and humbled to have the opportunity to be one of the 40 to start it. So thanks be to God for that.
Can I say one thing about the catechism?
Yes.
This catechism is new, and it is the product of a new effort that Metropolitan Saba felt was very, very important, and all of our bishops for several years now have been working on, and some of our clergy, specifically to address the rapid and continual, thank God, influx of inquirers versus just putting together a catechism that makes a lot of sense. So they're trying to, in an orderly and methodical way, support the clergy and the parish in receiving new people rapidly from everywhere.
That's right. So
that's what makes it a pilot.
They want to make sure that we have a comprehensive program, so that, because we come from all different backgrounds, and they want to make sure that we have a program that will help everybody fill in their gaps and make sure everyone's got a solid foundation. So that's what we're going to be doing this year, which is, again, very exciting, and we'll look forward to getting to it. Another thing that we're going to be doing this year is Thomas Andrew is going to be teaching the Inquirers, the Journey to Fullness, which is wonderful. We had this here, I think, 6 years ago, and Stephen April Blair taught it, and they did a beautiful job with it. Thomas Andrew is going to be teaching it this year. Basically, it's a DVD, a video by Father Barnabas Powell, and he lays out 16 classes where he just goes through the basic introductory steps of the spiritual life and the understanding of who God is and what the church is and things like that. So people who have been here for less than a year, unless you have a blessing, you will be going through this course first before joining us over here for the catechetical classes, because this is a very, very good introduction to the faith. So those are exciting new things, and it gives us an opportunity for some good incremental growth, and there will be some other things that we'll be talking about as we go along in the coming weeks as well. So I wanted to talk tonight about the Orthodox Christian New Year. And really, I have my wife to thank or to blame for much of this, because when we were in a homeschooling co-op, one time she was chosen, it was her day to teach. And so she taught on the Orthodox Church New Year. And she put it on this 20-foot long banner and was teaching all these kids in the gymnasium. And it was so simple, I understood it. And I thought, this is amazing. This is great. And, there were all the other homeschooling moms were there. I was always the only homeschooling dad because I was a priest. The other guys were all, doing their thing. And I'm like, well, it's Monday. It's my day off. And so anyway, for me, it was very helpful to see the church New Year laid out like that and in such a clear and concise and colorful way. And at some point, probably I'll ask Korea to just teach that thing. It's a little bit more than we can do here in 20 to 30 minutes. It's probably more like 45 minutes to an hour. But tonight I just want to focus on 2 months. And I don't want to go in total detail about the 2 months. I just want to give a little bit of an overview to give you a feeling of what it is that's happening. It's really, really very, very exciting. So we grow up in the West, and we grow up with our New Year being, January 1st. And how do we celebrate the New Year? Well, everybody goes and has a, party on New Year's Eve and stays up and champagne maybe, and then there's a ball dropping and everybody's glued to the TV or they're not, and then it's just all these traditions, secular traditions that go with the idea of a new year. But in the church, it's something so beautiful, so deep, and so different. So that's what I want to try to give you a little glimpse of. So first of all, we think about preparation. August 1st, August is like December, right? It's the last month of the church year. And August 1st, we begin the fast for the Dormition. And we begin with a celebration of the procession of the life-giving cross. Now, you'll read different sources, and some sources will, just highlight that you do the procession once. Some, highlight you'll do it on the first day of the fast, and then you'll also do it on the Dormition. And then other sources say, no, you do it every single day of the Dormition. You have a procession of the cross around the church. And there are different reasons for that, but they're all tied together, and I'm going to miss some of the overlap, and I apologize for that in advance. I intentionally didn't write this down, because when I write stuff down, I follow my notes, and then I just feel like I'm boring everybody to sleep. I'm just not a notes guy. Forgive me. I used to be a notes guy, and then I was ordained a deacon. And all of a sudden, I'm getting up to give my homily the first day as a deacon, and I went, wait, it's all there. So I put the sheet away, and so I don't use those things anymore, because I used to just read, go off the sheet. But, so I'm not a notes person anymore. So I will try not to miss things, but if I do, then you'll forgive me, and you can fill them in for me and help, and Korea, you'll fill me in, I'm sure, fill in and help. So the first 15 days, then, of August are devoted to our preparation for and celebration of the Dormition of the Theotokos. What's happening historically this time of year, this is historically a time of illness as the weather begins to shift. And so historically the people were praying for protection. And so you had the procession of the cross being made as a prayer for protection of the people. And so we're spending the first couple of weeks of August fasting and preparing, and then we have the 15th, which is the Dormition. In the middle of this fasting season, we have August 6th, which is the what? It's the Transfiguration. There's this strange overlap of things going on here, and this is beautiful, and I just get little glimpses into the mystery of it all. I think that what happens is, as we draw closer to it, and the more we celebrate it, or the more the Lord just simply gives it to us, we start to have a little bit more insight into what's actually going on here. Because it is beautiful, and it is mystical. It's not a bunch of guys with big beards sitting around with the calendar being like, it might be nice if we put this one here. Hey, I think we should put this one over here. No, that would overlap. No, it's okay. Well, there will be a meaning to that. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. It is a mystical revelation. That's the truth. And the longer I'm a priest, the longer I'm Orthodox, the more I understand that. So in the midst of the fast, you have the Feast of the Transfiguration. The Feast of the Transfiguration is the beginning of the season of preparation. So you get this? We're in the season of preparation, and we're beginning another season of preparation in the middle of that season of preparation. It's the beginning of the 40-day season of preparation that culminates in
the exaltation of the cross.
Exaltation of the cross. So you've got these overlapping seasons of preparation. One is it is penitential, the feast, the fast of the Dormition. We're preparing ourselves through ascesis and through prayer and through processions for the Dormition of the Theotokos. Then in the middle of it, you have a fasting feast, which is joyful. The first day of the beginning of that cycle of preparation for the exaltation of the cross. The exaltation of the cross commemorates the finding, the uncovering, the lifting up of the cross of Christ in Jerusalem by Saint Helen, the mother of Constantine. So we have preparation, and then in the midst of all of that, we've had the Dormition of the Theotokos. So we have the kind of the end of her earthly life, right? At the end of the church year. It's not an accident. The end of her earthly life at the end of the church year. And then, in the beginning of September, anybody know the date we celebrate her birth? So in the beginning of September, we celebrate her birth. She is the canvas on which the Word of God is incarnated. I mean, she gives us a context for the incarnation and for the message of salvation. It's beautiful the way that the church works with all of this. And what else do we celebrate? We enter into penitentially enter into somebody else's beheading at the end of August. St. John the Baptist. The end of an era. Right? So we see at the end of the church year, these things coming to an end. And then in the beginning of the church year, we see these things appearing again. And so we've got this cycle. The church is always reminding us of the process of our salvation, the unfolding of this mystery of grace. It's just amazing the way that there are all these moving parts. You feel like you're looking at a well-oiled machine, and really you are. It's it's inspired by the Holy Spirit. It's time-tested, and it just gets better and better for us. It never gets boring. I remember one of the women, when you gave the whole outline of the church year, I remember one of the women saying, "So you guys basically have something to celebrate every day." She was shocked. Because she was thinking Christmas, Easter. Christmas, Easter. And there's a lot of time between Christmas and Easter. There's a lot of trouble you can get into between Christmas and Easter. Right? But this one mother, I heard her say that. My wife told me she said that, and I thought, that's amazing. That's just beautiful. Because for us, I mean, that's the truth. Every day, forgive me, but I do. Every day I open the app on my phone, the daily readings app, and it tells me, who are the saints today? What are the readings for today? Are there Old Testament readings today? What's the epistle? What's the gospel? What is the fasting calendar? If it's noon, what prayer can I say at noon that would be appropriate for the time of day? I mean, and I have the free version. I don't even know what they have on the other version, but I'm not going to pay for it monthly. I can actually open a book if I need to look that badly. So the church year for us, the end of the church year, if we really enter into it, if you think about it, if August 1st hits, and you think it's not just like, oh, we got to fast during the summer. I'm still going to go down to Lake Monroe to the beach and hang out, cook burgers. If we think about what's happening, August 1st, it begins We move through it. Wait, we take a break. We're at the Transfiguration, which is the beginning. And by the way, does anybody know the link between the Transfiguration and the exaltation of the cross? Why are they beginning and end of a 40-day season in the church? Anyone know? Any of my budding theologians? It's all right. What was that? No, good question, good guess. It is, well, I'll just read you. John chapter 12, verse 23. But Jesus answered them, saying, the hour has come that the Son of Man should be glorified. When is the Son of Man glorified? On the cross. And then also, you remember Jesus saying, there are some standing here among you who will not taste death until they have seen the Son of Man come in, or the kingdom of heaven come in glory. You remember this? Right? And so some say that this is referring to the Transfiguration. Others say this is referring to the cross. Others say it refers to both. And so you've got the Son of Man glorified in his crucifixion, but then you also see the Son of Man glorified. You see his divinity shining forth his uncreated light. We see him as he shall be, and we also, who are partakers in the divine nature, will be transfigured, right? So we see that image of his heavenly glory on the first day, and then we see him glorified in the crucifixion on the 40th day. So the church is always playing with these numbers. If you ever pay attention to the liturgical calendar, I mean, it's an amazing thing. And it's all interwoven with the scriptures. It's not like I said, the bearded guys with the calendars. It's nothing like that. It is the most beautiful, dare I say, symbiotic. It's just this, it's almost like a symphony. And when we come into the church, a lot of times we're like, I like the Orthodox Church because I read the theology and I think it's the truth. I mean, the worship, I can take it or leave it. I might like the Western Rite a little better. And, you come in at first, you're just like, you kind of got these little, quirks and you think you have understandings of this and that, whatever else. And it's like you're hearing someone with a banjo going, and you're like, yeah, that guy, that's music right there. Yeah, this is the church and that's music. So I'm going to join the church. We have reasons why we join the church. When you immerse yourself in the life of the church, you will go from hearing the banjo picker in the narthex to hearing the heavenly symphony in the nave. It's the truth. It's the reality. It's the reality. And we get to be participants in that. And the longer we're in it, and the more, like I said, we're immersed, it's like we're marinated, and we enter into it, and it's like the more the instruments start to come to the fore. You start to be able to hear, I didn't realize there was a cello in this piece. They just start to come out. So it is a beautiful thing. It's not something you will read in a book. I don't know if anybody's ever written what I just said in a book. But if you read the fathers, like if you read the saints, if you listen to the liturgy, then you'll just go, oh, that's a symphony. That's exactly what's going on. It's a symphony. Our entering into the heavenly liturgy, it's something beyond us. It couldn't be man-made, right? It's not man-made. It's God-inspired, and it's absolutely beautiful. So if we enter into August 1st, we enter into that fast, we get to the Transfiguration, we keep going, we get to the beheading of St. John the Baptist, right? We've had the Dormition of the Theotokos, the beheading of St. John the Baptist. We might be feeling bad at this point because we just lost our mother and the forerunner of the Lord. And I love that, the tradition. It's a little T tradition, but that tradition of not eating on plates the day of the beheading of St. John the Baptist. Because it forces us all day to remember, what are we commemorating today? We don't, if we're blessed to go to liturgy in the morning, we don't walk out of liturgy and then just be like, hurry, turn up the music, I don't want to think about beheading, right? If you're doing that, there's something else going on, right? The church says, no. Every time you go to sit down to eat something, remember, not a plate, not a charger, because of the forerunner being beheaded and his head being laid on that charger. So we get through that, and then we get to the Nativity of the Theotokos, and then we look forward to the exaltation of the cross. And this is how the church prepares us for and then helps us to enter into the celebration of the new year. The church gives us tools for repentance, tools for protection, and tools for our enrichment and for our spiritual growth, and tools for our, hi sweetie, tools that we need in order to successfully lead the Orthodox Christian spiritual life. Okay. Is anybody, that's really what I wanted to say. I just wanted to give a snapshot, and I know I had to turn the AC off because it's so loud. And so I'm not going to go long. And if people have questions, you're welcome to ask them. But I just wanted to give you just a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a snapshot of this time of the year, how special it is. And we're in the middle of it. It's really a special time that the Lord has given us through the fathers of the church and through the liturgy and the liturgical cycle of the church, something for us to enter into. And I don't want anybody to blink and miss it because it's there. And if you only get like the tail end of it this year, then next year, I just want you to remember on August 1st, when we start at fast, we begin thinking, what are we preparing for? There are so many layers of things going on that we're entering into. So, anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I seen some video the other day about on the last day of August and September 1st for the new year to take your Jesus icon outside for the night, and then first thing in the morning to bring it in, him being the first to enter your home before the new year.
That's fat. I've never heard that. That's cool. That's beautiful.
It's patristic nectar, I think it's.
Yeah.
It's a woman that has, and she has stuff for kids and
We do
stuff
the
on
same
that.
thing, we put one out.
And I seen that the other day afterwards, but it showed that they're taking up the Jesus icon outside, and then first thing in the morning, he's the first to enter your home.
That's beautiful. There are so many of these little T local traditions that, I mean, there are so many of them. I was watching a video 2 days ago, and this woman was from Armenia, and she was teaching me, right? I'm like listening, I'm like, how come I didn't know this stuff, right? And that's one of the great things about like YouTube, for example. There are some very difficult things about the internet, the things that you are exposed to, and people who claim to be what they're not, and all that other good stuff, and teach you things that are error. But then there are these great opportunities to learn the little T local traditions from around the world that people will share, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. I never even thought about that. And that's an example of one of those. It's just really beautiful.